All right, that gives you a sense of what it was like back then. We spent hundreds of hours, if not thousands, trying to sift through more than 300 witness reports. I know I took at least 150 calls at my home from people who reported seeing a UFO. We left some of that historical information in there. If somebody could turn the lights on over there, appreciate it. Because one of the things we did find was that people were making reports of sightings that they had had in the area going back 25, in some cases 50 years. They had an elderly ranch couple that said, you know, back then, 50 years ago, we would have been laughed out of town if we'd come in and made this report, and yet what they had to say was very credible. One of the things that concerned us was the fact that the media focused on just a very few witnesses, and part of the reason for showing you that clip, which is the intro to my speech in San Jose, was to show you some of the people that were, the media went after day after day after day, and for the most part, they tended to be the most colorful of the witnesses. Certainly out of the 300-400 witnesses we had, there were folks who were much more credible. One of the problems early on was the fact that they focused on one gentleman, and I received a call one evening from Angela Joyner, and said that she was very close with this primary witness, the one that the media was following around, and that he was having psychological problems, and that we have someone who could give him counseling because it was having such an effect on his life, and that she was afraid that he was going to have a psychological breakdown, and it was affecting his marriage and his business and everything. Well, we certainly understand that because I devoted so much time to the investigation over the last couple of years, basically just left my business to go down to, I neglected my own personal business. So I know how these things can affect you, and Steve Allen was self-employed, and I know he was being hounded constantly. But the fact remains that so far all of the media attention worldwide was on this one person, and we were afraid that if there was some sort of psychological event, that it was going to discredit everything. And then other folks started coming forward. There was a gentleman on there, I don't want to say his name, but anyway, he was wearing a little cap and had a goatee. And he was interviewed quite a bit. He was on Larry King, I believe, once, and quite a few other programs. Steve and I had rejected this fellow. When we were filming the Stephenville episode with the UFO hunters there in Stephenville, the guy kept coming in daily. He wanted to be in the program. He wanted to give his report and so forth. And every day, his accounts became more and more outrageous, bigger and bigger claims. And the final day, he was saying to Steve and I that we need to get up a search team to go out to this area where some friends of mine had a firefight with these group of aliens that came down, and one of them lost their ray gun down a crevasse, and about that time my eyes glazed over. And, these were the folks that the media focused on. And of course, they were colorful people, but with their tales, it made the media come after Steve and I. Why aren't you putting out more information? What are you doing? What are you withholding? Why aren't we getting daily updates and so forth? And why can we go in there with a camera and get so much more than you can? Well, the fact is, real investigation takes time, and it's not done under the strong light of a camera.
Do you think that psychologically that was the media's way of maybe stopping at the whole idea and maybe just not really, because,
No, I'll answer your question. I understand what you're saying. But no, I I don't think that they were using it to make fun. I think that more serious attention was paid to the UFO question on this particular case than probably anything before. It's just that the real witnesses were the ones who were reluctant to come forward and have their faces shown. As the nut cases that wanted the exposure that came forward first, with the exception of Steve Allen. The other, I'm not making that claim about him, although I understand the pressures he was under. The fact is, if he had suddenly caved, it would have ruined the credibility of the whole event. Fortunately, as we went forward, though, others did come forward who were very credible. It took us time, and we had to sit down with them. Steve and I had so much media pressure, so many critics, and so many other factors to fight with. We felt like, a couple of little boys in a stable shoveling, looking for a pony. There's one over here somewhere. It was dirty work, and yet all we got was criticism for it. I told you that there were, forces within MUFON, too, that we found ourselves at odds with. Early on, it was obvious that we were going to need a radar specialist because beyond witness reports, there was no physical evidence, no trace evidence. Out of all the many hundreds of people we spoke to, only one gentleman claimed to have been abducted or had missing time. I found it interesting, but it was not something that we could follow up on because, there's just nothing there. As the man listened seriously, went out to feed his animals at 9 p.m., and the next thing I remembered, it was midnight. So, missing time of 3 hours, and he found, some scratches on him or something that could have been from a rooster, who knows. But the fact is, the radar report was to be a main element of our investigation after all of the witnesses were done. And we had a gentleman, Glenn Schultz, who was a radar specialist who volunteered to be our consultant for this particular case. He was supposed to be working in conjunction with us. And we had another member of our investigative team who is also a board member for MUFON on the business board. The gentleman's name is Robert Powell. Robert was given assignments as to particular witnesses he was to interview. In other words, we divided up the witness reports, and among our field investigators, told them which witnesses they were to interview. We kept running into folks in Stephenville that said, we have somebody here from MUFON HQ who is conducting an investigation. I've already spoken to him. And we ran into this time and time again, and some of the witnesses became irritated because they felt, that there was an intrusion into their life here, and that so many people are showing up and claiming to be MUFON investigators. And I complained bitterly to the international director. I'll give you a little aside and a hint here. We're making a push for new members in MUFON, membership applications. Now, anybody with $45 can join. If you happen to have a CIA connection, you might find that you're one of our top photo analysts. Or if you're from military intelligence, who knows, we might make you international director. So, hence, we had several conversations with James, which he denied that there was anything going on. And finally, after about 2 months, we were coming under so much pressure, so much demand by the press and all the blogs and all the wannabe ufologists and whatnot were criticizing us for, where's the report, where's the report? We tried to pressure our radar analysts. Where is the report?